So the most overwhelming thing I found when I first started investing in cryptocurrency back in 2020 was the price tag. So Bitcoin was around $22,000 when I had first started investing. And I remember thinking at the time I did not have and never had $20,000 lying around that I could chuck at anything. But for any new investors, this is not something that you actually have to worry about. We don't need to own a full Bitcoin or full Ethereum in order to make the same impressive gains that you see everybody else making. I also thought when I first started investing that I would have to start with a large lump investment into it, and this could not be further from the truth. You can technically invest in crypto with as little as a few dollars if you so wished, but this obviously would not be recommended at all. Now, when I first started out, I really didn't have any kind of significant cash. In fact, we could go as far to say that I was pretty much broke. Not in the sense that I was struggling, but I definitely had a problem with spending. So the main question for today's video is how can we make money in crypto whilst on a budget? Let's jump into it. So step 1 is understanding that exchange fees are your new arch nemesis in life. The most important thing to remember is that if you do not choose an exchange carefully, your first investment in crypto can have 10% wiped out purely just on fees. So you're at an immediate loss with this. Now, if we're planning to trade on crypto, fees on this can also rack up quickly. So some crypto exchanges also have surprisingly high minimum trades on the spot market, never mind the enormous funding fees that you often pay when you're trading margin. So this is something else to keep in mind. Now, there's also fees on withdrawing your crypto to your own personal wallet, depending on which blockchain this is on and how busy the network is. So it's something that I really would suggest that you try to factor into your investing budget where possible. And this leads up nicely on to step 2. So the next thing you want to spend a bit of time looking into is which exchange or platform you want to be set up on. So I actually had my younger brother text me a few weeks ago, let me know that he's now investing in cryptocurrency. It was very, very random for him, but anyway, I asked him what platform he'd used and his reply was crypto.com. Why did he choose crypto.com? Because he googled buy crypto online and it was the first one that he recognised. So God love him, but please do not do this. And I am relieved that it was the most common exchange he has gone for. But all it takes is for one fake exchange to be ranking at the top of Google and it was game over for him. So how can we avoid being like my youngest sibling? Make sure that the exchange supports the crypto that you want to buy. So this is probably one of the most basic but overlooked parts in getting started. So to be super basic and simple, you can check what exchanges a crypto is listed on CoinMarketCap. And another thing to consider when choosing a crypto exchange is to make sure that it supports the cryptos you're interested in, but that these are also on blockchains that are not absurdly expensive to use. So I do think that Ethereum blockchain is the most notorious for having super high fees for this. Now on to number 3. If you are investing on a budget because you are financially not in a situation to invest a lot, we need to be extra cautious about what to invest in to begin with. Now, when I say not financially able to invest a lot, I mean that if you were to lose everything in crypto, this would leave you in a financial mess or unable to pay your regular bills. So ideally what we want to be investing in is what you would consider as spare cash. So for me, instead of spending hundreds every month on clothes that I wear once and then forget that I own, I invest into crypto. I have been and technically still am in a situation where I invested quite heavily into crypto, but I lost it all 2 years ago. But whilst I was devastated about it, it did not impact me negatively in a financial way. And I'm not trying to say that I have a boatload of money to chuck around because I really don't, but I only invested in what I knew I could afford to lose. Ideally, if we're on a budget, we do allocate our initial investment to perhaps more established projects, and then once we've built up our position on these, we can then look at the more speculative plays. But I would suggest only doing this once conducting a lot of research on each one individually. Now, if you're investing on a budget because you're simply taking a gamble on it, then you can go wild. I'm not too sure that I really have any advice for the gambling side because I am boring, reasonably safe and do all your research. So you want to gamble it. And in regards to research, I strongly advise the first place you go to is the project's website. So check out how it looks. Are the team docs? Do we know about the founders? Can we see interviews with the founders? Is there terminology included that you don't understand? And if there is, Google it. People probably won't tell you to do that, or maybe it is an amateur move on my part, but if there's anything in the tokenomics or perhaps it's just different terminology that you haven't heard before, there's nothing wrong with a quick Google search to make sure that you can embed the knowledge into your brain in a way that makes sense to you. And another thing that I like to do is look at YouTube videos, look at the content creators. There is always somebody smarter than you in a certain topic. regardless of how smart you like to think you are, there is somebody smarter than you on it. I like to look at the big ones, the small ones, the crazy ones, the technical ones. I specifically like to look for videos that weigh up good and the bad. So usually it's more difficult to find videos that kind of go over the negatives. This is where kind of your own research really does have to come into it, because you can't really make an informed decision based purely on the positives that are being discussed. It wouldn't really make sense. So a lot of YouTubers in particular can really hype up a project, and they do it because they are excited about it, and I do get it. But you also have to be aware that with positives comes a negative. There's always a downside to everything, and it's something that you need to weigh up yourself. Now, number 4 is managing your expectations. So I was this guy, and I expected to be a millionaire when I first started to DCA to a portfolio in 2020. I genuinely did. I thought I was going to be a millionaire, but obviously this is where managing your expectations comes into it. So I was forever comparing my small portfolio to people's hundreds of thousands of pounds worth of portfolios. The gains will not be the same, no matter how many times you try and sit and tell yourself that you should also be up 5 grand on just one day. So if you come into crypto expecting to make millionaire status overnight, I can promise you that this will not happen in 99.9% of cases. Now, I have to say 99.9 because I know there are the crazy ones out there who have done it, but they are beyond an exception to the rule. We need a new word for that situation, I think, because it does happen, but the rarity of it is massive. So I personally think that the healthiest mindset to come into with it is that it's going to be an absolute roller coaster. There's going to be red days, there's going to be green days, there's going to be days on end that feels like it's doing absolutely nothing, but it is all part of the fun of it. So you want to start building your investment now so that you can make a 10, 20, 50, maybe you will make a 100x gain in the bull run, which will probably peak in around 2025, I think. We're not investing today believing that we're making all of this profit in 5 to 7 business days and then selling all. It is a long game, but it will be so worth it in the long run. So this is the step that I would like to single-handedly drill into everybody, and this is profit taking. So this is where I failed massively in the last bull run. Well, technically we didn't. The platform that I held all my portfolio on ran off with all my cash, as we all know. But if I had had a profit taking strategy implemented, this would have at least minimized, if not completely avoided this altogether. So I do have a whole video on how you can choose and build your profit taking strategy on my channel if you want pointers on how not to do a melt on this. But in the bull market, things are a little bit crazy. So everything is going up, your balance is going up, your confidence is going up, your ego is going up, but your greediness is also going up on this. So if we picture this, you're already on an overall 10x on your portfolio. It's the peak of the bull market in 2025 and you haven't taken a single penny in profit. So when do you start? You are blinded by sheer emotion and ego at this point. So your 1k investment is now worth 10k. But it's not really, because you don't have 10k until this is in your bank account. So for profit taking, personally, I am implementing house money and sales schedule method. So this will effectively be withdrawing my initial investment once I hit a certain price point, and then selling off the remainder of the portfolio in gradual doses once my set price targets for each coin are reached. So you need to work out what your own profit taking strategy is going to be and ensure that you stick to it at all costs. Do not let your bull market ego convince you that it's going to go up every single day, because it is the law of the universe. What goes up will absolutely come back down. But if you don't want to, or you feel like you don't have time to sit down and work out your profit taking strategy in a serious manner, then my one piece of advice is, when you see cryptocurrency being discussed on the mainstream media, or if you see a singular crypto.com billboard, sell it. So the last thing that I want to mention about investing on a budget is that you need to work out your actual budget. So if you think your budget is £1,000 to spare to invest, double check and triple check this. Make sure that all of your real life obligations are paid for. Make sure that your £1,000 investing budget is not leaving you with a grand total of zero left to spare after all your bills are paid. So maybe not a lot of people want to discuss this, but real life throws you curveballs as well as crypto. What you don't want to happen is that you're investing $1,000 every single month because you think you have accounted for everything that you need to pay for, and suddenly your car's broken down on the motorway on your way home from work, it needs a new engine, and it's going to cost you $2,000. Because the only way that you can then get that $2,000, you haven't left yourself a buffer, is to sell your positions early. And that's something that we really want to avoid doing. So whilst we're on our journeys to improving our lives and our financial status, it's important to be realistic about the life that you currently have. So whilst planning and investing for your future, you do have a current life that still needs to be lived. And we really do not want to be having to sell off early because we've had a real life emergency that we have not factored in and we cannot afford. So we can all thank my brother for today's video inspiration. I'm probably going to need to go and have a chat with him about the Googling of buy crypto online and choosing exchanges. But it did make me realise that over the coming 1 to 2 months, 1 to 2 years, there's going to be so many new and young investors coming into the market. And I really do think that education over this coin will do a 100x in the next bull run. I feel like these videos are just as important. So obviously I'm still learning a lot about it, but hopefully somebody out there can find this helpful before starting their investing journey. I would love to hear what your biggest mistake has been when you first started investing in crypto. Let me know in the comments below and I will see you next time. Bye.